We continue to follow the student protests in South Africa, which is gradually beginning to feel the brunt of the students' demonstrations. Hospitals are now complaining they're experiencing a shortage of blood. They say it's because it's become dangerous for the South African National Blood Service to set up mobile clinics at campuses, resulting in a loss of 150 units of blood per day. The service relies heavily on students for blood donations and says it has less than 2 days of blood supply left. The students have been protesting a proposed hike in the tuition fees by 8%, a situation that they say is unacceptable. Chief Executive Officer of the Junto Group, Mr. Lucas Malloy, joins us now from Johannesburg. Mr. Malloy, it's great to have you join us.
Thank you very much, and good day to your viewers.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. What other areas of public service have been affected by the students' protests?
Well, as one would think, all the services, like you have said already, the health sector is already complaining about the donated blood supply. And then you've got the police services that has been channeled into controlling protest and sort of being taken away from the other areas, and that will start suffering as well. You've got the public sector that is also battling a little bit because they are sitting with, you've got a lot of rubble and everything all over the place. So everyone sort of has got their hands very much full because of the protest.
And have the protests become any more violent than they have in the last 1 week?
Not really. I think, again, the protest last year was a little bit much violent than it is now. Again, you're starting to see students a little bit much divided. The strike has taken too long, and not only that, but also that you can realize that the students really differ with opinion when it comes to how to deal with the strike or how to protest in its own.
Yesterday, a student representative of Witwatersrand University said the students will make the country ungovernable if their demands are not met. How's the government responding to that?
Look, the students of VET have made that threat, but I think it is still a little bit far from that. Because of the fact that the students themselves are no longer as united as one would think they were in the previous demonstrations and that. And then many of the students are really focusing on, they would really like to go back to class. We're seeing that many of them that were due to graduate will then only graduate next year because of what is happening. So I think already it is losing a bit of momentum because of that sort of now there is a divided approach into what they wanting to achieve.
President Jacob Zuma already promised that anyone who destroys public property in the protest will pay a fine and then spend some time in jail. How serious is this threat? Has anyone been arrested? Has anyone paid any fine?
No one has paid any fine that we have heard of. But like any other protest, there has been arrests and that, and obviously then charged with public violence and damage to property and that. But these are cases that are normally dealt with on an individual basis and are never taken as a group or really published as a group and that. So even if something is happening and that, it would be very difficult to know or to point it down because it's individual cases.
Mr. Malloy, appreciate you joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you very much.
South Sudan's veteran journalist Isaac Vuni has been killed. Circumstances surrounding his death are still unclear, but his body was found alongside a road about 3 months after he was abducted from his home by unknown gunmen. His wife says some youths in the area found his body and buried him. She says she doesn't even know where he's been buried. Journalists around the country have been paying their tributes to him. Meanwhile, a French court has rejected the Senegalese government's request to confiscate former Minister Karim Wade's luxury apartment in Paris and a bank account, arguing that it could not find any evidence of corruption or embezzlement. One of the lawyers representing the son of the former president, Abdoulaye Wade, Jean-Marc Fadiba, says this is proof that he was wrongfully sentenced and jailed to 6 years in prison in Senegal. Karim Wade was pardoned earlier this year after spending 2 years in jail. However, the government says he still has to pay the $225 billion owed to the state. Karim was a powerful advisor and minister during his father's rule from 2000 to 2012. He was nicknamed the Minister of Earth and Sky and was in charge of transportation, infrastructure, energy, and international cooperation with the Persian Gulf countries. Another term it is for Gabonese incumbent President Ali Bongo, who was sworn in today following bitterly disputed elections. A ceremony not new to Gabonese, but one that comes after nearly 50 people have died in post-election violence, a violence that has been replaced by heavy security and calm in the capital, Libreville. Mali's President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta sent a message to Ali Bongo at the weekend, offering his lively and warm congratulations. He was at the inauguration with the leaders of Togo and Niger, as well as the Senegalese Prime Minister. Gabon has never had a poll that international observers judged free and fair, and Western powers, especially ex-colonial master France, always looked the other way. But last Saturday, France and the European Union both expressed doubts about the poll, which swung it for Bongo on a province, Haute-Ogooué, that gave him the 95% of 99.9% turnout. FIFA has defended its scrapping of its anti-racism task force. Despite a lot of criticism, the World Football Governing Body's Secretary General Fatma Samoura had said yesterday the task force had been given a specific mandate which it has fulfilled. The former FIFA Vice President, Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, says for it to be disbanded with FIFA considering its work done is extremely worrying. Prince Ali, the president of the Jordan Football Association and a former FIFA presidential candidate, also said the notion the current FIFA leadership believe the task force recommendations have been implemented is shameful. Anti-discrimination group Kickouts was initially perplexed by the decision, but now says it is reassured, having held talks with FIFA today. Speaking at the Soccerex Global Football Conference in Manchester on Monday, Samoura, that's the FIFA Secretary General, said the task force's recommendations had been turned into a strong program to tackle racism. As she says, and I'm quoting here, "My presence here is a demonstration that FIFA has a zero-tolerance policy against discrimination, not only racism, but any kind of discrimination, including violation of human rights."
First and foremost, my presence at the highest level of the FIFA administration is a strong signal of the world that FIFA is really embracing diversity. The fact that also we have been working very closely with football legends to really promote and be our advocate when it comes to diversity, integrity, but also fighting against racism, xenophobia, homophobia are another sign that we would like really this global game to be the #1 example when it comes really to bridging gaps, creating synergies, and creating also a much closer relationship between the nations and people coming from different cultural, racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds.